Marilynne Robinson, Reading Genesis. In Reading Genesis, Marilynne Robinson invites readers on an intellectual and spiritual journey through the foundational text of Genesis, not merely as a sacred scripture but as a sophisticated literary work. The book encourages us to appreciate Genesis for its artistry and intent, revealing the deep intertwining of narrative and theology. As you delve into this summary, anticipate exploring themes of divine creation, human fallibility, and the intricate relationship between humanity and the divine. Robinson's examination of Genesis as a crafted narrative aims to illuminate how the sacred text communicates profound truths about existence, morality, and God's enduring grace through its vivid stories and evocative language. This summary will guide you through the Genesis narratives of creation, the first murder, and the Tower of Babel, offering insights into the text's historical context and its relevance to modern faith and scholarship.
Genesis Unveiled. The book of Genesis stands as a masterpiece of literary craftsmanship, intertwining its sacred purpose with the finesse of its narrative structure. Beyond being the cornerstone of the Bible and revered scripture for millions, Genesis is a text birthed from purposeful human creativity. This craftsmanship does not diminish its divine essence; instead, it enhances our appreciation for the intention and artistry at play. While some may wrestle with the idea that Genesis's human authorship might undermine its spiritual authority, the Bible frequently credits human authorship to its narratives, affirming that writing and shaping these stories over time was crucial for relaying a divine message. Genesis's journey likely began with stories passed orally across generations, stories that were subsequently honed and preserved by dedicated scholars and rabbis. This process was powered by an earnest belief that the divine truth about God belonged not only in hearts but also within the compelling embrace of written language. These narratives seamlessly blend theological insights with engaging storytelling, offering both instruction and inspiration. Each tale, from creation to the flood, reflects profound truths about God, humanity, and existence. Diving into Genesis as a literary text reveals deliberate craftsmanship and encourages us to explore how its stories were ingeniously designed. The storytellers behind Genesis were not mere recorders of events; they were artisans of language, aiming to shape a community's perception of the divine covenant. The origins of these narratives probably coalesced during transformative times, such as the Exodus, capturing the collective memory of a newly liberated people. This endeavor not only affirmed their spiritual beliefs but also laid the groundwork for their emerging identity and nationhood. Through a literary lens, Genesis reveals a wealth of linguistic beauty, thematic depth, and an impressive composition that has sustained its relevance across millennia. Appreciation of this text comes not only from recognizing its role as a conduit of divine revelation but also from celebrating it as a remarkable piece of religious literature. The authors, inspired by their conviction, wove the knowledge of God into a tapestry of words that continues to echo through time, resonating with readers as much for its literary merit as for its sacred wisdom. Creation Unveiled. In the book of Genesis, the universe's birth unfolds with timeless simplicity and grandeur. The narrative begins with God crafting the cosmos, bringing forth light, sky, land, seas, vegetation, stars, creatures, and ultimately, humanity in His image, within a 6-day span. On the seventh day, God sanctifies rest, marking it as a universal cessation from labor. This concise tale opens with the potent phrase, "In the beginning God created the heaven and the earth," capturing the profound essence of creation in its brevity. Contrasting with other ancient creation myths, like Mesopotamia's Enuma Elish or Hesiod's Theogony, Genesis stands apart in its elegant clarity. There are no divine skirmishes or genealogical sagas. God simply exists, commanding existence with the words, "Let there be light," which brings forth creation effortlessly. This process, punctuated by the refrain, "And it was so," underscores the unfathomable power of divine will. Furthermore, each act culminates in the affirmation, "And it was good," emphasizing that God not only creates but embodies the source of all goodness. This rhythmic narrative structure mirrors the meticulous and deliberate nature of creation. Genesis extends its significance by bridging faith and science. Beyond religious doctrine, its portrayal of creation from nothingness, or creatio ex nihilo, shares parallels with scientific conceptions like the Big Bang. Unlike mythologies filled with divine housekeepers and primordial battles, Genesis narrates a genesis from a void, resonating with scientific explorations of the universe's origins. The text's elegant portrayal suggests a harmonious interplay between divine authority and scientific inquiry, showcasing how foundational narratives can coexist with contemporary understanding. Divine paradox. Imagine the complexity of a seemingly vengeful yet endlessly merciful deity as demonstrated in the haunting tale of Cain and Abel from Genesis. Cain and Abel, the offspring of Adam and Eve, make offerings to God. Abel, a shepherd, presents the finest of his flock, while Cain, a farmer, offers the fruits of the soil. God's favor falls upon Abel's offering, igniting Cain's jealousy and leading to a tragic act of violence, the Bible's first murder. This narrative probes deep questions about justice, vengeance, and God's nature. Remarkably, despite the severity of Cain's crime, God refrains from enacting retribution. Instead, God places a protective mark on Cain, safeguarding him against potential vengeance. This mark, often misconstrued as a symbol of Cain's guilt, serves as divine protection. Here lies a paradox. What kind of deity would shield a murderer rather than administer the harshest justice? The answer reveals the profound complexity of God's character. God, while disapproving of Cain's actions, does not seek ultimate vengeance. Instead, he allows Cain to live and prosper, granting him the role of a father to descendants like Enoch, a significant biblical figure. This aspect of the story challenges the idea of divine retribution, emphasizing God's propensity for mercy and restraint. Throughout Genesis, God's actions often defy the expectation of relentless punishment. Even Adam and Eve, who were warned of death for eating the forbidden fruit, are merely expelled from Eden rather than destroyed, a narrative known as the Fall. In the story of the flood, though meant to obliterate life, Noah and his family find grace and survive. Despite committing premeditated murder, Cain himself is spared the death penalty. This perceived inconsistency in God's behavior points to a deeper constancy. His justice is always tempered by mercy, grace, and an unwavering loyalty to humankind. God's actions defy human notions of vengeance. Instead, they reveal a more nuanced justice woven with compassion and an opportunity for redemption, even amid grievous sin. This divine paradox serves as a reminder that God's approach to justice is layered, deeply embedded with mercy and the potential for salvation. Babel's lesson. In the aftermath of the Great Flood, the descendants of Noah share a single language, symbolizing unity. This collective harmony fuels an audacious endeavor, building a city with a tower reaching the heavens. Yet, God disrupts this unity, scattering people and confounding their speech. This tale, from the book of Genesis, often illustrates the peril of excessive ambition. The tower, an emblem of human arrogance, exemplifies the danger of striving to challenge divine authority. However, another perspective sees God's intervention as an act of protection rather than punishment. God recognizes humanity's immense potential, which, if unchecked, could lead to perilous outcomes. By scattering and confounding the languages, he creates a barrier that tempers their progress. This allows humanity to pause and reflect, harnessing their creativity responsibly. The story of Babel embodies the delicate balance between unleashed ambition and the necessity of divine guidance, inviting reflection on the boundaries of human ingenuity. Meditating on evil. Genesis delves into the timeless puzzle of evil and suffering in a world crafted by a benevolent creator. It doesn't shy away from the perplexing question, why does a loving God permit suffering? Rather than providing easy solutions, Genesis crafts a narrative of intricate human experiences that venture further from divine closeness originally intended. The stories of the fall, the flood, and the Tower of Babel transcend ancient narrative, serving as profound insights into human nature. They underscore that while humans are made in God's image, they are inherently flawed and prone to errors. In the tale of Adam and Eve, the act of eating the forbidden fruit signifies humanity's complex exercise of free will, where seeking knowledge and independence often leads to self-inflicted suffering. The subsequent stories, such as those of Cain and Abel, and Noah's flood, highlight how human actions engender evil, dispersing anguish across creation. Yet, a glimmer of hope persists within these tales, a testament to God's steadfast grace. Humanity may be cast out of Eden after the fall, but God's commitment never falters. The narrative transitions into a closer relationship with mankind, beginning with his covenant with Abraham. This pact marks a crucial turning point, as God promises Abraham descendants as numerous as the stars, while forewarning of their prolonged suffering in Egypt. This promise doesn't clarify the reasons for suffering but suggests a grander scheme, a divine blueprint beyond any individual's comprehension. The fluctuating dance between suffering and divine favor is a thematic cornerstone in Genesis. The Israelites' eventual emancipation from Egyptian bondage and their emergence as a chosen people propose that suffering holds potential meaning within the biblical framework. Though Genesis doesn't resolve the conundrum of evil, it enriches it, implying that suffering could be woven into a larger enigmatic purpose. Ultimately, Genesis refrains from definitively answering the existence of evil and suffering. Instead, it offers a sophisticated reflection on these truths, acknowledging human understanding's limits while affirming God's persistent love and grace amidst life's ordeals.
Marilynne Robinson's Reading Genesis concludes with an exploration of the deep theological and literary layers woven into the book of Genesis. By viewing Genesis through a literary lens, Robinson articulates how the text engages with profound existential themes and the persistent quest to understand God's justice tempered by mercy. The book highlights how the stories within Genesis, spanning creation, human transgression, and divine interaction, captivate with their simplicity and provoke thought with their depth. While the narratives illustrate humanity's flawed nature and the resulting struggles, they also echo a consistent message of hope and divine love. In the end, reading Genesis invites readers to reflect on the complexities of evil and suffering, placing them within the broader context of a divine narrative that underscores redemption and grace. This nuanced reading of Genesis not only bridges the gap between ancient text and contemporary understanding, but also enriches our grasp of faith and human nature.